Hi, everybody. This is Dustin with www.gamblingonfreedom.com. And I am a certified hypnotherapist specializing in gambling addiction, problem gambling, compulsive gambling. And I'm here today to talk to you about a question that I received, which was what happens when I quit gambling, but then I feel empty inside? And I believe this question was coming from someone who recently kind of relapsed back into gambling. And basically, what they said was, I quit gambling. I think it was for 6 months. And, after 6 months of boredom and loss of interest in other parts of my life and not being able to feel like life is adventurous and fun anymore and these kinds of things, they went back to gambling. And it's because of that emptiness, right? And they just didn't feel like their life was going the way that they wanted. And this is kind of what I was talking about in the last video. If you guys watched it, I was basically talking about the ecosystem of your life after recovery. Right? One of the things that has to happen is that the ecosystem of your life has to start improving, right? Meaning that your confidence, your belief in yourself, your desires and interests all have to increase. Your health, your nutrition, your sleep, your body, your mind, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional health all have to increase, right? Your wealth needs to increase. You need to be able to know, especially in a gambling context, that your money is on point, that you're solid, that you have enough money in the bank. You don't have to worry. You're not even needing to chase a loss because there's substantial money, there's substantial wealth. And relationships, right? Relationships, whether it's with a significant other, siblings, parents, makes no difference. You need to have very fulfilled connections and relationships. And if you have all four of those pillars, I like to call them, if all four of those pillars are met and fulfilled, then the desire to even gamble falls off. And that's what can help in the recovery stages. So in today's video, though, I want to talk about this question specifically. What happens when you do still feel empty inside after you quit? There's three reasons for this. Firstly, three main reasons I would say. Firstly, as to why that would even be the case. So first thing that happens is your dopamine receptors are basically fried. Your dopamine receptors have been on this really high for however long now, and the only thing that really seems to bring up that same level of good, positive feelings, we'll say, and reward chemicals, is the gambling, right? Because it's the only thing that has the intensity level to actually get you there. Once you're there, I mean, just think about it. It is fun, right? Imagine winning $10,000 in an hour gambling, right? It's a fun experience. I'm not going to deny that. It's a fun experience. It's exciting, especially when you're brand new and you haven't been to casinos yet and everything is new and shiny and, you know, it's fun. I get it. It's exciting. And it's because of that fun and the exciting feeling that your dopamine receptors are just on high alert. They're reacting high in a higher way more often. So now everything else that isn't that just feels boring, right? Life feels boring, relationships feel boring, work and school feel boring, building your career feels boring. It all feels boring now because you have this really, really fun, exciting thing that you do every week, right? Every weekend or however long, whenever you guys gamble. And so that's the first reason. The first reason is dopamine receptors are basically fried. And now you need more of the only thing that's going to help get it to that level. Uh, and because you need more of that, everything else that's below that in sort of terms of excitement and fun and that kind of thing, all just, they don't matter as much. They're just not as important. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is not dealing with the emotions underneath the coping mechanism, right? So, that's all gambling addiction really is. It's a coping mechanism. It's not actually the problem. It is the attempted solution. It's not the problem. Gambling is not the problem. Gambling is the attempted solution for the problem. It is the escape. It is the control. It is the thing that you're able to do to relieve yourself from what the actual problem is. And a good way to understand that is just don't gamble anymore. Try to stop. When you try to stop gambling and maybe you cold turkey for 3 months, what's going to happen is emotions are going to come up, such as feeling empty in this case. It's that emotion that you have to face. It's that emotion that is keeping you needing to find relief. Right? It's that emotion that is driving your behavior to go gamble. So, whatever it is that you can't stand, whatever you're feeling that you can't stand right before going to gamble is the thing that you have to face. You have to overcome. That is the thing. And so once you overcome that at a very deep level, especially, um, you know, since the first time you ever felt that way, and you heal all those parts of you that can't deal with the emptiness or the loneliness or the boredness or whatever it is, part of you that has a hard time dealing with that, when you can finally do that, then that behavior of going to the gambling uh, would is essentially stop because the emotion isn't fueling the behavior anymore, right? So that's the second thing. Second thing is deal with the emotion underneath. That's what you have to do. You have to realize that that emptiness or that loneliness or that boredom, that lack of interest now, that is what has to be dealt with. That's the problem, right? And the third thing is, what was the third thing? So we have dopamine receptors, we have the coping mechanism, oh, and then just building your ecosystem in life in general, right? And so that would look like building up yourself and your health and your wealth and your relationships. This would look like saying, okay, well, I'm not as confident in X, Y, and Z areas that I want to be. I need to work on that confidence. I need to work on my belief systems. I need to work on my identity. And that's a big one right there is identity. A lot of people are stuck in their identity. They have this gambler's identity, right? This gambler's identity. And this gambler's identity is not your friend. Right? If you have an identity as a gambler, this is who you are, and you quit gambling for 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is, and you hold on to that identity, you haven't shifted the identity yet, then yeah, you're probably going to go back and gamble because it's who you are. It's what you do. This is a part of you, right? It's an addiction. It's a habit. Yeah, true, but it's also an identity. It's who you are now. If you've been doing it for anything longer than a year, and you've tried to stop perhaps and haven't been able to, I guarantee you there's an identity attached to it. There is a part of you that just believes this is who you are now. This is who I am. I am a gambler. I am this. I am that. It's just like a smoker's identity. I am a smoker, right? That identity keeps people locked in place. We have to help you find how to be a non gambler, a non smoker, right? Because a non gambler doesn't use gambling to cope with life problems, right? Somebody who doesn't gamble, an ex gambler, a non gambler, um, whatever you want to label it as, the identity as, that shift has to occur because so long as you believe that you are a gambler and you identify that way and that is who you are, you could stop for 10 years, but at some point you're going to gamble again because it's who you are. Right? So we have to shift the identity. Beliefs is another one, shifting the belief. There's a lot of belief shifting that one could do. Not feeling good enough without the gambling, believing that nothing will ever get better if they don't gamble, that their debt is too much for them to get out without gambling. Whatever the limiting beliefs are, those need to go too. Right. So belief and identity are sort of that third category I wanted to mention. We have dopamine receptor issues. We have uh, not dealing with the underlying emotion underneath, and then not shifting enough beliefs or identity around the gambling. You do all of that, and build yourself an ecosystem in your life where yourself, your health, your wealth, and your relationships are all improving, and it feels exciting for them to improve. If you put all that together, you have a very good way of helping somebody quit gambling actually for good and not feel empty inside. Because that emptiness is just coming from, again, dopamine too high. The tolerance is higher now, so you need more of it in order to feel the same kind of escape and relief that you're looking for. Um, the lack of dealing with the emotion underneath and sitting with it and facing it, and the beliefs and the identity that sort of create a internal connection to the gambling, make it feel like it's exactly who you are. And because it is who you are, it's almost like there's a belief like there's no point in changing this. Nothing's going to change, or it won't matter if I stop, or whatever the beliefs are. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this helped. I hope this was informative. And anybody who is struggling with gambling, I urge you to take a look at the website, www.gamblingonfreedom.com. Set up a free consultation. I'll be happy to talk to you. And we'll go from there. All right. Take care for now, everybody.